Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started today. We are doing our setup. Today's the setup show for the Hebrew, biblical Hebrew in particular. Join us today if you're interested in picking up a few things here and there and getting into the swing of things. Biblical Hebrew today on POLYGLOT Show. Alrighty, let's get going here. Alright. Okay, today is Sunday. It's our Hebrew day. Usually I do my Sunday teachings in the midday, 12:30. We'll be starting those after a lengthy sabbatical next week, next Sunday. We'll be rebroadcasting again, and it's we're taking a break from the Exodus teachings and going into some several topical teachings during this year, and maybe just the first part may go through to the December break off time. So we'll see as the Lord guides us on that. But we're going to hit major topics. We've gotten requests for certain topics, so we'll be handling those throughout the every Sunday. So it promises to be a very interesting and applicative series of teachings coming up starting next Sunday, 12:30 p.m. in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Okay, and the same thing with our Shabbat teachings will commence the following Saturday, not this one, but the next. And I believe that's March 7th, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll be starting with our Shabbat classes as well. And as all of these classes are also available on Roku worldwide and Amazon Fire TV as well. So if you have those systems, you can catch us live. We actually broadcast live through that at the same time, or see us here on Facebook or on YouTube. YouTube for the Bible teachings, we are streaming through TSPCI, not through our global MyCBH network. Okay, so just a little news here before we get started. In today's class, we are going to, first of all, I say classes. These are not my regular Hebrew classes. We have separate Hebrew classes that I give through Arithmetic University and through our social evangelizer software. We provide what you call the more professional classes there. What we're doing with the Polyglot Show series is trying to make language learning, fun, without pressure, without feeling terrible about yourself if you don't know squat about a language. I'm right now in role. What does that mean? If you know anything about acting, I'm acting right now. I'm playing a part, and the part is I don't know squat. I don't know anything. So let's go and start to learn. I do know things, but I'm just saying I'm trying to approach it in a way, a jovial way, a way that any simple person would, if you got the idea, okay, let me try this with this guy on the screen, that you could find it fun and find it, hey, something I want to do, and maybe I'll pick up a word or two, and then three, and then four, and then five or six. We'll have a few laughs. We'll spend an hour every week, and we'll go bit by bit and see what we can learn. So my part in this is not to be a professional teacher to you, but just to show you what I find online that you can find online, and give it a run through with you and just have fun with it. And the goal, of course, is to make learning languages not so like a big thing to be scared of or be afraid of, and and to get your juices flowing, get into the practice of expanding your mind, expanding your verbiage in other languages. And so, not that you know English all too well, but anyhow, let's continue to expand our horizons and gain some more understanding. I figure that since I do Bible teachings anyhow on the Shabbat and on Sunday, might as well do some biblical Hebrew and help us and help a few of you get into the swing of looking also at the Hebrew for your biblical reinforcement and enjoyment. So that's like the end goal. And so that's what we hopefully will help you with here. If you're looking for professional help and learning, like really to learn Hebrew during the course of probably today or in our subsequent programs, I will show you different resources that you can have. I'm sure there's free ones online that you can use, but also if you want to, hey, lay out some dough because you really want to get it from a pro, then that's fine too, and we'll show you those resources as well. Now, again, and that's an encouraging you to do that. I think it's worthwhile to expand your knowledge base no matter what. And that's why throughout the week we have other languages that we also are having fun with. For example, tomorrow we do our third show on Mandarin Chinese. And so that way you can get the better egg roll, actually. On Tuesdays, we do standard Arabic, so that we haven't done our first show yet. So we hope to get that going. They are scheduled. All of these shows, by the way, are scheduled for 6 p.m., but they're not firm. It's not firm because life happens. I'm not doing this for money or anything like this, so it just comes in as a break from my regular daily tasking and whatnot. And of course, this year also I plan to be holding quite a number of seminars out there, so I won't be available to give these shows during those times. Hopefully, and so the shows may not be done. They may get done and broadcast at another time or later time. But in any case, if I don't happen to update on a new show, just go over the old ones and just keep practicing and do your own. Hopefully, you'll be motivated by then to do your own advancement in self learning. And so, that's basically what I'm doing. The other benefit to this is to expose your children also to new languages to get them looking. But adult or children, the two things that we do that you need to learn also. It's not just to expose yourself to a new language, to expose your kids to a new language. And by the way, we are not doing this for children. It's a good idea to expose your kids to new languages, but don't use my program to do that simply because this, I'm not doing the program for the children to have them in the audience even. Many times we will go right into some dicey, spicy stuff, and you may feel that that's not appropriate for children, or most of society feels that it's not appropriate for children to hear or to be exposed to. I do the same on Sunday on my Sunday teachings as well, but I give everyone a warning. If you have children, there's any children in the audience, cover their eyes or cover their ears and whatnot. And I give you a warning when something like that is going to occur. So the same thing goes here. This is not intended for children at all. Okay, but exposing your children to new languages is always. Okay, so you do that on your own. You learn yourself, do some more research. Fine, I'm going to show you resources. Show that to your children, but not this. Okay, and um, so that's that community message there. All right. So then on Wednesdays, we will have Italian. We already did our first Italian show, a great hit, wonderful thing. And so that's happening on Wednesday. We do Russian on Thursday. We also had our first show last Thursday. And that was a lot of fun. I'm still waiting for the Troika. If you've seen that show, you know what I'm talking about. And then we Portuguese. I haven't started yet. That's on a Friday. Friday's a tight night, but we'll try to get that in this week. And then on Saturdays, we do the German, which we did yesterday. It was a fun show as well, and a lot of people liked it. Again, it's fun. I'm having fun with it. I'm not doing anything so too academic or anything. We're just having fun. We're looking on the internet, and we're trying to, learn through having fun and through other things. I particularly like the Saturday one. I'll try this with the others too, because I we can try music as well as a learning tool, and so we'll try to do that. I'm trying to avoid copyright issues, so that's why I have to just we have to still look for how to incorporate that. We don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all and cause some copyright issues. So we'll have to just work that in somehow with some Creative Commons stuff, or if we can find it, some music in the what do you call that, public domain, where we wouldn't have a problem with. But again, we'll see. But mostly, since I like the classical stuff, especially Bach and Baroque, we should be able to find easily some Italian um, public domain stuff along that lines. I don't know about the Russian stuff, but probably. And the Italian, yes, uh, well, we ain't gonna try the Mandarin Chinese with that, and obviously the old Hebrew or the biblical Hebrew. We probably will not find stuff, but maybe we will. Maybe we'll look at some old cantus and see what they have recorded. See if there's anything in the public domain. Again, so we'll just look at that. So we're looking into music and stuff like that. I was singing one of the my first Hebrew tunes that I learned in my college days back then, and I was singing that today, and thought that would be nice if we can incorporate that also and bring some Hebrew learning to us through the song. Amen. So let's get started. So what we're going to do today, and if you want to join us on any of the other shows, just tune in around six-ish. Six-ish. Yesterday's show was like seven-ish. But yeah, you just check us out and check out the Polyglot. And like I said, adult material. No holds barred. I don't have issues here. I'm more over there than I am over here. You guys have issues here, okay? You're immature and you have issues here. Okay. But anyway, I'm not. I don't hold any. Not keeping back anything. I have all the stops open, etc., etc. The purpose is learning, not to maintain the ignorance of society. So I'm not doing that. We're just learning. It's an open book here, so that's what it's about. All right. So what we're going to look for are resources. Now, there's a thing if you're Spanish, and I'm going to check this out. On the YouTube, there's this Spanish Jew that, because there were Jews in Spain, and he's created like a little YouTube channel. It's not a lot of content there, but there's definitely enough for you to learn to read Hebrew, and reading it and obviously pronouncing it in a relatively short period of time. And you can pick up, but there's different renderings, okay, of the Hebrew. So I only recommend it if you're Spanish origin, as I am, that you find this resource on YouTube and add that to your personal learning if you have a good grasp of a Spanish background to you. Simply because there's certain intonations and pronunciations where that rendering is more acceptable or more easy for the Spanish speaker to utilize. But before I do that, I'm just going to check out a few things first, just to make sure, and to give you that information. Spanish. Uh, And I do this because I just have to make sure of the understanding. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's perfectly acceptable. It's simply just to understand why it is. It says that the Judeo-Spanish, I'm going to put this on the screen for your benefits. All right, it'll pop in there. So it says here, this is from Wikipedia. A Judeo-Spanish or Judeo-Spanish, commonly referred to as Ladino, is a Romance language. Without proper rendering support, you may see question marks, boxes. In short, Ladino is only Hebrew clothed in Spanish or Spanish with Hebrew. The famous Ladino translation of the Bible is the Bible de Ferrara. And we might as well look into that just to give us a more rounded education. It's always good to learn things, folks. It says is a Romance language derived from Old Spanish, originally spoken in Spain, and then after the Edict of Expulsion spreading through the former territories of the Ottoman Empire, the Balkans, the Turkey, Middle East, and North Africa, as well as France, Italy, the Netherlands, Morocco, and England. It is today spoken mainly by Sephardic minorities. Okay, in sociology, a minority group refers to, okay, we know what that is. A Sephardic is Sephardi Jews, also known as Sephardic Jews, Hispanic Jews, or Sephardim. So originally from Sepharad, Spain, or Portugal, are a Jewish ethnic division, and let's have a read in there so that you understand what that's about. They established communities throughout areas of modern Spain and Portugal where they traditionally resided, evolving what would become their distinctive characteristic and diasporic identity, which they took with them in their exile from Iberia, which is the old name for Spain, beginning in the late 15th century, to North Africa, Anatolia, the Levant, and southeastern and southern Europe. as well as the Americas and all other places of their exile settlement, either alongside pre-existing co-religionists or alone as the first Jews in new frontiers. And these are the folks that are presumed to be the ones who introduced or colonized in terms of reproducing and forming, having communities in the Americas, meaning that the Spanish people are in the Americas, may have, or may be, in fact, not in total, but parts or communities may be in fact descendants of these Sephardic Jews or these Hispanic Jews. So that's where that comes from. Their millennial residences and open organized Jewish community in Iberia began to decline with the Reconquista. Okay, the Reconquista was the period of history of Iberian Peninsula of about 780 years between the Umayyad conquest of Hispania in 711 and the fall of Nasrid Kingdom of Granada to the expanding Christian kingdoms in 1492. There's some great movies or TV series you can watch that cover this. If you're Spanish speaking, you should see I think it's the RTV, is it? RTV or the Spanish TV, Isabela, I believe it's named, and it covers this area and this reconquesting pretty much a little bit, but I guess it's to get you familiarized with a little bit of history and what was happening then. I'm sure there's things online that you can do search for on YouTube or whatnot. I don't know if they're in Spanish or not, but also covering this time in history. Okay, and was brought to an end starting with the Alhambra decree by Spain's Catholic monarchs in 1492, and then by the edict of expulsion of Jews and Muslims by Portuguese King Manuel I, or Manuel I, in 1496. And you see that's a 4-year difference between when everything started happening and what happened in Portugal, which resulted in a combination of internal and external migrations, mass conversions, which happened a lot. So a lot of these Hispanic Jews had no other option. They couldn't get out, so if they were going to stay, they had to convert to Catholicism. And that was part of the forced conversions to Catholicism experienced by many Jews. There were the ones who could contribute to the literary history of Spanish culture. When you're considering the Spanish culture, you have to also be sensitive to the possibility of the Spanish Jewish influence, especially even things like the translation of the Bible. There's translation of the Bible called the Bear in Spanish, the Bear version or version Oso, and that is by a Christian who wrote, a Spanish Christian person, but it's possible that that person, and I don't have the name right offhand, let me get it for you so you can have that information. In Spanish, called Biblia del Oso, and that translation was, well, let me see. Casiodoro de Reina is, I believe, that person, Casiodoro de Reina. But there's certain, because of the way he translated the scriptures, they have a definite, a definite Jewish perspective to it. And so that, to me indicates that he had to have been one of those forced converts who later went and contributed to the literary history, but put in his Jewish 2 cents worth, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just that these are things that, even though history doesn't say it, you can tell by the way the text is expressed. The Word of God is expressed, that he obviously chose wordings that were more faithful, let's say, to the Hebrew text, or even to the perspective. So that is what a little tidbit there. Since we're part of learning a language, also to learn the culture, learning its history, things like that help you gain more of an understanding and appreciation, and give us a some grounding where we can start, receiving some of the words and adapting these words to our memory and to our usage, right? So, and then others were, of course, executed. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate time. But a lot of people don't understand the reasonings. And let me tell you something. Let me teach you a little bit about history and nations and things like that. People get the wrong idea. I know in today's world, we don't like this idea of another country coming invading, another people coming and imposing their ideals on us, those who are there, the natives. And you can't go back and rewrite history according to the way we see things today. It's not appropriate. It's not the time. Back in the time, this was life. And it's like when you study the Bible, one of the key things is context. Even in Hebrew, the Hebrew is, oh my goodness, Hebrew is a language that if you don't consider the context, you're lost, because the Hebrew does not help you understand by itself. You need to know the context so that you understand what this word means now, because it can mean something else in another passage, depending on the context. So that's the kind of thing. It's not like English that this means this no matter where. That doesn't happen in Hebrew. So this is why we're into this, right? So now it's not about learning what this word is in Hebrew. It's really more is learning the context that makes this word this. And then when you go over there, that word is dependent on the context. It'll mean something else. So this is why we have to get this, have this milieu, not a little French, of understanding, so that you can get, how about German, the Gestalt, get the Gestalt, and be able to, ground yourself and have familiarity and confidence in, when you're dealing with biblical Hebrew. So these are the things. Now, but a lot of us get upset. We say, oh, as a Puerto Rican, there's statue. If you go to El Morro in Puerto Rico, you will see a statue out before you go in of like a woman that's being ravaged by a foreigner. We've had Portuguese, we've had the Spanish that came in and whatnot. Everybody trying to get into that island. What's the thing about Puerto Rico? It's a beautiful place, really. If you go exploring, it's a wonderful place. So don't be afraid of going. We had a family member just went and just came back. They had a marvelous time. Beauty beyond compare. A lot of things there that you guys should really go and visit and see that. It's really a wonderful place to go to visit, to see the things they have there, the natural wonders there. There's great natural wonders for you to see there. I'm not working for the tourist department of Puerto Rico, but in any case, but it's true. You should enjoy Puerto Rico as much as possible. It's the closest Caribbean island you have, and it's a great place to go. And the food is wonderful, let me tell you. Okay, but in any case, Um, so they have that statue there depicting the island's suffrage, the people's suffrage, really, in the hands of whoever came and shot better, basically. There's a time in the history that the Puerto Ricans joined the Spanish, who had the fort there at the El Moro already, defend the fort against another invading. I think they were the Dutch. They were trying to invade and take over the island. I said, and Puerto Ricans had enough. Okay, we had enough of this already. So let's join the Spanish. At least it's better the devil we know than the one we don't know. Okay. So that's basically what the Tainos did. I keep calling Puerto Ricans, but they were Taino Indians, right? And they joined and helped the Spanish defeat the Dutch who were coming in to move. I think it's the Dutch, could be the Portuguese, but anyway, you look it up, go there and look it up and enjoy that. But it's just the point that people get tired. This was life, and we need to look at it in the eyes of those who lived it, not in our eyes of disgust of oh, we can't have this and this and that. There's all these people going against Christopher Columbus. All he did was bring misery and death, and oh no, he brought the internet to you. Okay, Christopher Columbus brought civilization for better or for worse. Okay, you could have still been naked Indians running around with spears in the air, like they are over there by India, right? There's an island over there where they're cannibals or they just kill people, and they're left alone because the government order leave them alone, don't mess with them, and they're just over there. They ain't got no internet, no TV, nothing. So I don't know about any Puerto Rican who can survive without TV or internet or or their cell phone. Okay, I don't know any. So, and most of the food you guys eat, okay, Christopher Columbus, right? Because without him, you wouldn't have chicken, you wouldn't have pigs, nothing like that. He brought all that stuff to you. Okay, so anyway, but to digress, we get into this pattern of using our modern day um, attitudes and prejudices and applying it into back into history, and it's really inappropriate. Back in the day, they lived the life that had to be led, and there were dangers. The conquistadors were a constant danger to established civilizations, but so was nature, and so was other invading natives, the Incas, the Aztecs, right, from Mexico and all that. The American Indians, they were killing each other. They were fighting each other. Now we got these white guys coming in from England, and now we got them to fight off. So it wasn't new. It wasn't like you didn't know about these things or that wasn't life. They knew this is part of our existence, and these people coming. Who are these guys? Now we got this other tribe over here trying to muscle in. The Tainos had a risk too because a certain amount of Tainos went down. They left the island because of the Caribs. Now you got the name Caribbean. You know where it came from? It comes from carnival. I'm sorry, carnival. Cannibalistic Indians called Caribs. They ate other Indians. That's what they did. And so these Caribs were invading the different islands because they run out of food wherever they go, of course. They don't want to start eating their cousins and uncles. So then one of the islands was Puerto Rico that they came to invade and to attack. So, the Indians, the Taino Indians had to do something. And then comes Christopher Columbus later, right? It's just simply one thing or another. Somebody is going to come and start messing around with the island. So that's the history of the island. So anyway, these Taino Indians leave. Not all of them. I mean, some of them brave souls. They go into little canoe things they made out of their out of those coconut trees or whatnot, and they sail the ocean blue, and they actually settle Bahamas. They go settle in. If you go to the Bahamas, there's a place called Taino Bay. It's named after my ancestors, the Taino Indian. There's places along the Central and South Americas that have Taino blood in the peoples that live along the coast and on the islands around the Central and South American continents. So, and I do know a personal story actually of a friend of mine who's already passed away. But before he told me a lot about the Taino Indians, he was a descendant of, and not just a descendant, he was born and started to be raised in the Amazon jungle. He was an Amazon Indian, okay, and he one of the stories that he learned as a child was about the Tainos that came in, a friendly tribe. They called them a friendly tribe that came in, and everyone was like scared. They was kind of, what should we do with these invaders? Are they invading us? What are they doing? And in dealing with them, they found the Tainos to be very helpful and friendly. See, that's the Taino, that's the Puerto Rican, that's the true Puerto Rican, not those Weisenhammers and wise guys out there. Those are not Taino. They're something else. They probably have some Carib blood in them. I don't know, man. But the true Puerto Rican's a nice fellow, a nice gal. We're cool. We like to help people. Okay, that's what we do. That's the blood of the Taino. We're not wise guys or wise asses. Yeah, I'm going to say it. That's not really what. That's just the stupidity that they pick up from I don't know who, but that's really stupid. But that's not the Taino. That's not the true Taino. So I challenge all those Puerto Ricans out there. So you get to be what you're supposed to be. Stop the bullshit. I'm going to say that because it's true. You guys are killing our people. Wasn't enough that Christopher Columbus came. You guys act like rear ends. So there, I said it. All right, but that's for another show, right? Anyway, so that being said, we need to understand that in those times things were done differently. There was a purpose in it. There was a reason. There was no understanding. There wasn't enough understanding. It's the same issue as these guys like in the Middle East. The Middle East is still, you figure why these countries have these dictators. Why do they have dictators? Isn't it curious that Cuba still has dictatorship? You ever think about that? Why does Cuba have dictatorship? And almost like the Middle East also. Cuba here, it doesn't make hardly any sense. But you see, the Cuban, now don't get offended anybody, but the Caribs, they settled in Cuba. That's where most of them settled. It's a gigantic island. Maybe there's something to that. But anyway, let's go on. So the thing is this, that we have to understand that in history certain things and like now still certain why do these dictators kill people, kill their own people? You got this guy in Syria, etc. And you had Hussein, right, in Iraq. You have this the guys in Iran. I mean, why do these people need to do that? And the simplicity of it is, unfortunately, is that the intellectual level just isn't there. It just isn't there. And that is the reason that these things go on. That is the real reason that these things go on still. They haven't moved on to a more progressive form of government. The people need to be told what to do, stay in line, and this and that. And so whenever you don't have enough intelligence in the population, the government has to rule over them with an iron fist, or else they'll get out of control. You see that? You see that? That oh, we have to control them because they don't know how to behave. See that? That's a lack of when you see people not behaving. I don't care what the reason is. When you start seeing people going crazy, doing stupid things, putting things on fire, turning things upside down, breaking windows and all of that, when you see that, what you're seeing is a a society that is not under intelligent. It's not in an intelligent state. It could be, and I see people protesting against, like in the Chinese and all that. I mean, it could be that they're sick and tired. I mean, when this is the point, when they're sick and tired of being held in captivity, they're going to lash out. But still, the truth is what it is. The society has not produced leadership that's intelligent, but it is becoming more and more, and the leadership is staying, trying to hold it as it was, trying to resist change. So you see, like a people's like in Hong Kong, because this is not happening all over China, but at least in Hong Kong, these people are awake. They're more awake than the ones in mainland China. And so they're trying to break out. They're trying to break through. And the Chinese are trying just to keep them back in the old days mentally here. Oh, we are the Tsar here. We are the what was that? The emperor. See, they used to have emperors before. Whatever you care to say, now we don't have emperors. The emperors were dictators, this and that. But you still have a government that's basically doing the same thing. It's no difference. Um, but anyway, but again, those things belonged in a time before. At least we can say that here in the West. Those were from the old days. Those types of government rule belong back in those days. Of course, we can't impose ourselves on these guys now, because then we become like the conquistadores with the Puerto Rican, with the Taino. So it's like the same type of thing going on still. People progress against stagnation. Simple as that. But again, like I said, if it isn't for progress, where would the Taino be today? So you got to think about that. I like wearing clothes personally and walking around with my pants on. Just saying. Okay, so so we need to understand that you can't blame anybody. Even these guys here, these Jews who were forcefully converted. They had to convert in order to continue to live. They had no other choice, unless they're going to just die. And what would they be able to do if they were dead? Nothing. You say, so well, what's the hope? There's no hope. So you can't criticize them, you can't judge them. You just have to say those were the times, and you can't blame either side really. You can't say, oh, why did the Spanish have to do that? Why did those Catholics have to do? You can't blame them. This was how to survive. It's either us or them. See, because if they didn't do it, then the other guys would win. And we wouldn't be here. And so who's going to be here? The strongest. It's just the law of nature is the stronger survive. It's the law of the fittest, right? So that's basically what it is. It's a very basic natural selection, the type of thing. So to condemn it and to use our modern day prejudices against the things that happened in the past. I mean, I think it's childish. This happened back in the day. This is what happened. That's it. This was the way people lived. This were the challenges back then. We don't have those challenges now. We have progressed. We have evolved. Thank you. That's it. But to then try to go back and revisit history, try to change, whatever. And we do that today with the statues here and all this. It's just simple. I showed before, and we talked about the swastika, and we talked about the Gestapo for the German thing. It means police, and just because of our modern day and post Hitler feelings, we devoided the German from a word that they used to have. It was innocuous until Hitler did what he did, right? So it's just uh, it's just the way we try to cover up. I call those things cover-ups because you really don't address the issue. You're just covering it up with, okay, let's try to make everyone happy, and just cover it up, or take the statue down. No one has to see it. So no one. What do we do with the history? Are we supposed to tear it out of the books too? Then we get stupid, don't we? Because we don't have any knowledge of what happened. And guess what happens when you don't know history? It repeats itself. Thank you very much. Let's go on. Boy, you guys learning too much here. You should send me some money. Okay, so let's get on with this. Alrighty, let's check on the time there, see how much we can get going. Okay, all right. So in 2015, both Spain and Portugal passed laws which allowed Sephardim who could prove their origins in those countries to apply for citizenship. More broadly, the term Sephardim has today also come sometimes to refer to traditionally Eastern Jewish communities of West Asia and beyond, who, although not having genealogical roots in the Jewish communities of Iberia, have adopted a Sephardic style of liturgy. And so, basically, Sephardism made it created its own lifestyle, right? And that's why, see, so now you see the basis, though, also of its own reading of Hebrew or rendering of Hebrew. Here we go, because it's not just, we're not just speaking about Spanish Jews here at all now, any longer, because they have, of course, spread, and no matter where they are, they want to identify with their past, the Sephardic past, and they will be tending to render Hebrew in the traditional manner. Okay? Now it says historically the vernacular languages of Sephardim and their descendants have been variants of either Spanish or Portuguese. Let me see something here. This shows you where the languages are spoken. There's the Spanish and the distribution in the world, so you can see that. Although though the other tongues have been adopted and adapted throughout their history, the historical forms of Spanish that differing Sephardic communities spoke communally was determined by the date of their departure from Iberia and their condition of departure as Jews or new Christians. That's what happened. Judeo-Spanish, sometimes called Ladino Oriental, Eastern Ladino, is a Romance language derived from Old Spanish, incorporating elements from all the old Romance languages of the Iberian Peninsula, Hebrew and Aramaic, and was spoken by what became the Eastern Sephardim. So you have in this Old Spanish, which incorporated the Romance languages of the Iberian Peninsula, which is more than just one. You had Hebrew and Aramaic. So it's a mixture of these languages creating this Sephardic idiom or language. So, who settled in Eastern Mediterranean, taken with them in the 15th century after the expulsion from Spain in 1492. This dialect, that's the word I was looking for, dialect, was further influenced by Ottoman, Turkish, Levantine, Arabic, Greek, Bulgarian, and Serbo-Croatian vocabulary in the differing lands of their exile, so they do not share the common speaking language as it's changed, being influenced by their surroundings. Even the Hebrew itself is actually a language that was fashioned after others. It's not like Adam spoke Hebrew, for example. Okay. Hakatia, also known as Tetuani in Algeria, an Arabic influenced Judeo Spanish variety, also derived from Old Spanish, with numerous Hebrew and Aramaic terms, was spoken by North African Sephardim, taking with them in the 15th century after the expulsion of Spain, 1492. The main feature of this dialect is the heavy influence of the Ajebli Arabic dialect of northern Morocco, early modern Spanish, and early modern Portuguese, including in a mixture of the two, was traditionally spoken or used liturgically by the ex-converso Western Sephardim, taking with them during their later migration out of Iberia between the 16th and 18th century as conversos. Conversos means converted. They converted to Christianity. After which they reverted to Judaism. Yeah, so there. And then modern Spanish and modern Portuguese varieties traditionally spoken by the Sephardic Benai and Nusim of Iberia and Ibero-America, including some of the recent returnees to Judaism in the late 20th and 21st centuries. In this latter case, these varieties have incorporated loan words from the indigenous languages of the Americas, introducing following the Spanish country. So obviously, what you have is the Hebrew mingled into the Spanish with all of its other, uh, I'll call them contaminants right now, for lack of a better word, but these are other things, other languages that were around in their environment, in their society, in their communal surroundings that influenced the way words, were adopted by their community and their descendants. And so that's why you have this seemingly different type of Hebrew, and then the need also for the way that the Hebrews then would read the Hebrew text and their voicing, uh, uh, because Hebrew has to be voiced. Hebrew is basically consonants, like our B's, T's. The letters are just they're not vowels in themselves, but they have indicators of what vowel can be used. But again, is it the Hebrew way of saying the vowel, or is it the Spanish way of saying? So there's differences. So that is the reason why we have this issue. All right. So that being what it is, let's keep looking for resources though in the Hebrew. Let's go to. Yeah, they're offering this one place. It says 5 Hebrew words every Christian should know. So we'll go there. We'll use that. Let's see what else. Here's 1,000 most frequently used words in the Hebrew Bible. We'll go there. And that includes the pronunciation. And I guess that's a course there, so you guys can look at that. That's a course that you can sign up for, which we won't do it because I'm looking for free resources. Basic Hebrew vocabulary. This is a list of 500 important words. So let's see. And it is a list. It's a PDF, right? So this just helps you to see the word, to be able to read the word, but not to be able to pronounce it, because of course you're not learning or seeing or hearing how it is pronounced. And for those who don't know, remember the Hebrew is not read from like we do here in the US, that we start at this side of the book. Of course, on your screen, you're seeing me do it the opposite. That's the camera does the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to do the opposite. So in English, you guys read from the sentence starts here, and then it goes across. Well, in your time, it goes across the book. See? So you start the line starts here in your book, and then you go reading across. But in Hebrew, it starts here, and then you read it across that way. So your book, your page ends right here. It's the ending of the page, and from there, it goes. Well, no, it would go from inside the page. So actually, inside the page, right? So here's your book. So the Hebrew would begin inside your page, right? And then you would read, I'm sorry, right? It will start outside your page. I'm getting mixed up myself because I'm looking at myself. So it starts outside the page and you read in to the center. And that's how it will start outside the pages and goes into the center, right? So that's how it's done in Hebrew. Sorry about that. It's just this camera and it's throwing me off here. Those of you who broadcast know what's happening with that. Okay, so we can have that. We can. I'm going to look at. There is a resource I remember using a year or two ago that actually pronounces the words. I'm going to see Hebrew pronouncing translator. I guess I found that to be really good. Do it in Hebrew, maybe. That link was already checked, so it could have been, yeah, this is the one I used. So it should be. I don't think that phonetic. I'm not sure if it'll do that now. Let's go to let's do the L. Let's do L. Here you would type in the words using the characters here and I guess their English equivalency. So I'm going to type in L. Let me see if this is the one. Right? And it says 2 here. I believe that. Here it has the other dictionary where it says God, the Lord, or a God. So that is what you see in the Bible, but I don't see any way to hear it pronounced. Let's see. Here it is. Here video. Here Hebrew audio. Okay, so we have this here. Enter the word below. Here, please try to follow to hear the audio. Enter the word and click the blue button. Right. So this is, I guess, a picture of it using the latest versions of Firefox. Let's see. All right, let's see if it in fact had the speaker on. So let's do this the other way. Let's do this from English to Hebrew, and let's see if we can get if we can get the speaker for it, the speaker icon. Oh, here it is. See, it's over here. So it is here. Let me blow this up for you. And so now we can have a hearing. Let me put this up a bit. Oh my goodness. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, we'll have to do this another day or find it someplace else. Let's see if I can find a Hebrew audio. Hebrew audio. Uh, what do you call that? Let's see. Let's see. So, oh, okay. I guess we can use the Google. The Google Translate. I don't know how good this will be. See, they have Gad. They have Gad here, which was we have to put the L, and then we'll have that's the Hebrew, but it doesn't give us. I don't think they have it as an audio option. Let's go to Reverso. Reverso may have the audio, so we'll see. And we'll put in the L in English, and we'll do the search, and it gives us. It's putting it into Spanish. I don't know why. Why are these things in Spanish yet? So it looks like as we're going to have to search out this during the week, so I can get something that gives us an audio hearing for the Hebrew word.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that, but how to hear Hebrew audio translation? Hebrew with audio and vowels. The Sida Yala Hebrew. All right, so let me try here. Let's try that again here. Let's see what we get with this. It gives us Al Allah. Oh my goodness, really. It gives us this for God, so let's hear
that. Elohim.
Okay, so they gave us Elohim. Again, I'll have to work with these during the week to just practice on them and make sure they're producing what we want. You have the E because this first letter can be an E or an A. Can be an E or an A. This one is Lamed, the second letter. That's another thing we should get is the alphabet for you guys. And you have the H, Het, and then the Yod, and then the M. I think it's Met in the Hebrew alphabet. Let's just check it again. And here you go. You look for the Hebrew. Are you learning? Hebrew alphabet. And the word alphabet, in fact, is in Hebrew is Aleph Bet. Aleph Bet. I'm sorry. Aleph, yeah, Aleph Bet, and that's the alphabet. So Aleph Bet, and basically means AB. That's what it means. Even alphabet means A and B. A, B. That's it. Okay, Hebrew alphabet. I like to get the graphics, the graphic chart. Um, and let's see the images for that. And this is the Aleph Bet. And here we found Judaism 101. And so you have your, and we're looking for it's mem. It's not met, but mem. So that's the letter at the end. I like the images because this thing tends to lose. It loses the quality. So I like to have quality so that we can see. Try to see this image in the full view. So this is how it looks. Yeah, so the M is, you have two of them for the M. And so that's what you have. I'll look more into that for you guys next time. Again, you need to find out why things are the way they are. So we'll look at that. And again, the reason, don't forget what I said in the beginning, right? I'm showing you how you can go and put things together for yourself. That is what the purpose of this is. Okay, so we have the graphic. We have at least something that renders some words in an audio form, which is, which one was that again? Let's see. It's not here. Although this could do it, but again, we have to sign up. So I'm going to do that during the week. I'm not going to waste time with it today. And so this has a place to go back. So let's just go through it. And I'm just looking for our previous places here. Okay, this is the one, the Yala Hebrew. Let me go and look for. Oh, okay. So let me just look for some other. And here's a Google thing that they're talking about, that the Hebrew text has no audio. I'm sure that it's not ready yet. Google Translate does not have listen audio feature available for Hebrew. Okay. All right. I think we'll just drop that for now. We'll sign up through the dot in Hebrew, or do it in Hebrew site, and then we'll have that resource. Other than that, we have the alphabet ready here. We have, oh, what we want to do is get the Bible, a Hebrew Bible, and let's see, Judaism, shouldn't they have that? And here you can probably learn about the vowels and points here, and you can learn how to identify when things are pronounced a certain way here. So we have that resource in Judaism 101, and so that's good. All right. And so what else is there? The Bible. I'm gonna continue Hebrew. Now for the Bible, I like using the Blue Letter Bible. The Blue Letter Bible has, and we'll just go to Genesis 1 here. Now, when you go to the Blue Letter Bible and you go to any Old Testament, you'll have this thing called Tools. You just click on it once, and then it gives you the main Hebrew rendering. It doesn't give you the complete text. It translates the basic words. Okay, so it may or may not be the same as the text. In other words, it won't appear. All the words will not appear here. Now, some of the smaller things, won't appear here. Just mainly the main words that have the context and the meanings, of the word. So that you have to be careful with that in that sense. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words here, and basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, that there is something basically missing from this listing here and what is the Masoretic text. All right. So you have to be careful of that. So don't assume that whatever you read here is exactly what appears in the text. There's maybe one thing missing or so. And so you need to be looking out for that. But hopefully, by the time we, in our show here, Polyglot, we'll be able to see what is missing and just read through it and know what's going on. Okay, but it's very good otherwise. I mean, it's only one word missing from the whole thing, so that's not bad. And again, it's not likely to change the meaning. Just one word of one type of lettering that is not there. Okay, so it's just to give you that understanding. So here again, as you can see, the basic issues with the Hebrew. Again, they have the vowel points here to make it obviously easier to render what is meant there. We have the Elohim, as you've seen here, as you've seen before. We did. Now let's hear it in the way it says it.
Strong's H 430, entry 1. Eloach. Eloach. Second entry. Elohim. Elohim. And the third entry. Eloach. Eloach.
Okay, so there you go. You have one rendering here written, and then you have three audio or enunciation or pronunciations or renderings of how it is to be said. So you got your work out for you. Okay, so I think with this we're pretty good. I'll be doing some more lookouts for great Hebrew resources. I'll also give you that YouTube channel. There's no, there's no new videos on it, but the videos that are there are pretty good for the Ladino version of rendering the Hebrew language, biblical Hebrew for that matter. Okay, so that's about it for us today. Thank you for joining us today. Next Sunday we begin our Bible study classes, and in the evening we will begin um, uh, to use these resources. By then I should have the audio ready for you guys, and we can start rendering and reading the Hebrew together, a bit at a time. We'll learn the alphabet. You have to let that alphabet and soak in, identify those letters in Hebrew. We'll talk a little bit about the origination of the letters in Hebrew, little things like there, here and there, and that's it. We'll start exploring and having fun with Hebrew, biblical Hebrew, here on the Polyglot Show. Take care.